A marriage that birthed a dynasty, a union that birthed a queen. One they feared, one they followed, and one they accused. She wore the crown not once, not twice, but again and again. This isn't just a story of a queen. It's the tale of a woman who made power kneel. And if you ask me, she definitely left us uncertain of what to call her, even now. The saga of the Umayyad dynasty is a tale of twists, mysteries, and whatnot. It all begins with Salahuddin al-Saleh, a businessman from Bengal. He came to the Maldives not to take over, but simply as a merchant. Yet his fate was grander than just trading spice. He married the widowed queen of the Maldives, the consort of Sultan Yusuf Siri Aditya Maharedum, and they had Abdul Fateh Jalaluddin Umayyad, who later went on to be the king of the Maldives, and with that, the second royal bloodline, the Umayyad dynasty of the Maldives, was born. Sultan Jalaluddin had many children. His only son Ahmed Shihabuddin, Fatima Radafati Kilege, Mariam Kaba, and then somebody we all grew up knowing, Rehendhi Khadeeja, the eldest daughter. When Jalaluddin died, his son Shihabuddin was too young to rule, and so the court vizier Al-Wazir Abdullah ibn Muhammad Hazrumi made a cunning move. He married Shihabuddin's mother, the Sultan's widow, and just like that, he became the ruler of the Maldives. But nothing in this dynasty stayed quiet for long. When Shihabuddin came of age, he took the power back and exiled his stepfather Abdullah to Huadu Atoll. Shihabuddin was a Casanova, a firebrand. He took lovers from lower classes, from noble families, even from the wives of his own ministers. He even married the very young daughter of his exiled stepfather Abdullah. It was just a poetic insult, perhaps. As the days went by, the court eventually turned on him, and he was exiled to Khidhumaiykuraa Atoll, and then he died there. Now, was it old wounds, or was it the angered nobles, or was it her, Rehendhi Khadeeja? Some bravely claimed that Rehendhi Khadeeja is the one who sent the assassin to Khidhumaiykuraa Atoll to get her brother killed. We don't really know what happened, but one thing we know for sure is that when her brother fell, she rose. She claimed the throne as Ahsultana Khadheeja Rehendhi Kanbaidhi Kilege Siri Abaarana Mahaarehendhi. She was married to Reeti Mohamed, and honestly, I am judging my girl Rehendhi Khadeeja here because, like I mentioned in our Amali Dhivehi video a few years back, this man, he's got zero records of service to the country. The only thing he's famous for is being handsome. So much so, he literally earned the name Reeti Mohamed, meaning handsome Mohammed. Now, this also was a very important time in the history because this was the time when the famous vlogger of his day, as Raufat would like to call him, Ibn Battuta, sailed into the Maldives. He married Rehendhi Khadeeja's stepmother, the mother of Radifati and Mariam Kaba. It's said that during his year in the Maldives, Ibn Battuta held a high-ranking position in the court. Ibn Battuta described Rehendhi Khadeeja's reign as disciplined, almost divine, Her name had to be mentioned in every single Friday sermon, and foreigners who visit the palace must bring 2 felis as offering. Now, a feli is used as a sarong worn by men and women as a complementary part of their attire, basically, if you didn't know. Anyway, the foreigners, they had to bring 2 felis, one for the queen and one for the husband. And then, guess what? They had to throw them at their feet. I have no clue whether if I'm taking this a little too literally or if the historians were just dressing it up in fancy words to say they were ushered politely. Rehendhi Khadeeja also commanded over thousands of soldiers, both foreigners and locals, and every single day they had to go to the palace, bow down before her. Ibn Battuta also mentioned something rather curious, Sure, the kingdom was run under Rehendhi Khadeeja's name, her orders, her army, her throne, but really Mohamed acted like he was king, playing the role, basking in the glory, making power moves. He even brought back the exiled Abdullah back to Male, like he was some sort of a kingmaker. Abdullah and Ibn Battuta, they did not get along, massive fallout. They couldn't stand each other. Now imagine, the most famous traveler and returning power player, both circling the queen like rival stars. I think one sharp look from the queen would have put them both in their place. Rehendhi Khadeeja gives off that vibe to me, definitely. But if we have learned anything from the stories we've gone through in this series, it is that even queens, no matter how mighty they are, they're never immune to betrayal. After a while, Mohamed decided that it was time to remind everyone that he was a true Maldivian man. No offense to anyone though, y'all amazing, but this guy, he went ahead and crowned himself the king. And he got to be king for 1 short year, and then death came knocking on his door. Some say that he died of natural causes, the others say that Rehendhi Khadeeja made sure that death knocked on his door, insinuating that she might have murdered him, her husband. She moved on pretty fast. Right after she became queen and gave birth, she remarried. She got married to Al-Wazir Abdullah ibn Muhammad al-Hazrami. Yes, that Abdullah. The same man who once married her stepmom, the man who had once stolen the crown through marriage. But maybe Abdullah was a changed man, right? I mean, maybe time had worn down his ego, or maybe Rehendhi Khadeeja had sharpened it into something useful. Because even when Ibn Battuta returned for the second time, Abdullah had no issues with him that time. He treated him with respect. 10 years later, power shifted again. Some say that Abdullah is the one who took the throne, but others say that it was his son, Kilege Siri the military chief, who was even perfectly positioned to do something like that. So we don't know whether if it was Abdullah or his son who took the throne, but Rehendhi Khadeeja was not the queen anymore, it was whoever this person was. And he was the king of the Maldives for 3 years. And then Rehendhi Khadeeja came back again. Blood had been spilled again, and she wore the crown again. This time, there was no exile, no stepping aside, no soft return. This time, she ruled until the very end. Because when death finally came for Rehendhi Khadeeja, it wasn't with a sword, it was with time. It was final, quiet, and strangely merciful for a queen who had weathered so many storms. But I think she rests in peace knowing that she didn't lose the throne, she held it until her very final breath. And when she passed, her sister Radhafati Kanbaidhi Kilege took the throne. This is the story of Rehendhi Khadeeja, and maybe, just maybe, she wrote it in blood. Rehendhi Khadeeja's story is nothing new to us, I know that, but here's what keeps me at night. Did she really kill for the throne? Or was it just men who couldn't stomach the thought of a woman being in power? Because calling someone a murderer, that's not a casual accusation. That is staining someone's legacy, you know? Hazim Tajuddin said she did it. Radhavali states she did it. But Mohamed Amin Didi, he asked a question that others were perhaps too afraid to voice. He asks whether if it is fair to call her a murderer. Naseema Mohamed also points out the errors in the record. She didn't just raise an eyebrow, she also did open a door for me to think. Maybe what we were taught all these years could not be true, you know? But then again, what if she actually murdered all of those people? What if she killed not out of, cruelty, but because she knew how the game was played and she played it better than anyone else who sat on the throne? Would that make her ruthless or would that make her a brilliant queen? I don't know. History remembers kings who kill as conquerors, but queens, they automatically become villains. So what are we really asking here? Are we looking for the truth? Or are we just too scared to admit that a woman just might have been the most dangerous ruler the Maldives has ever seen? Let me know what you think. Until we're able to unfold another tale beyond the sunny side, this is me, Thaareekhah, signing off. Bye bye.